Hello and welcome. It's Marcy here again with the third and final in the series of introductory videos for the Radar Opus program. Bear in mind that these are meant to be introductory videos. Take your time, master the steps, and they'll give you a solid foundation from which to grow your skills. I've also included my website here, marcymearns.com, for those who might be interested in connecting. So let's get started. In this video, we're going to finish up the case that we started in the previous video, and we're also going to cover quickly how to navigate through the repertory using your computer keyboard when you know exactly what symptom you're looking for. Remember that the video is broken into short segments, and I recommend that you pause the video and practice before moving on to the next section. Let's begin by reviewing the question, do I know exactly where this symptom is found in the repertory? If you're not sure where a symptom is to be found, I strongly recommend that you use the simple one-word search as a starting point, just to make sure that you find the very best symptom or group of symptoms from which to choose. Now, if you know exactly where the symptom you're looking for is located in the repertory, you won't need to go through the search steps. You can actually go directly to the repertory. So let's just take a quick look at how we would do that. And we're going to use the last symptom in our case of colic here, which is pains come and go quickly. Now, I happen to know that this particular symptom is found in the generalities chapter, so I'll go directly to my synthesis repertory, to the generals or generalities chapter, the rubric complaints, and the subrubric complaints appearing. All right, so let's see how we can navigate just using our computer keyboard to the rubric generals, complaints appearing, and then the associated subrubrics. So I'm going to begin by opening up the navigation window for the synthesis repertory. We can do that by pointing to the binoculars located here in the upper left-hand corner of my repertory window. One click on the binoculars opens that window, and there's actually a prompt here that says start typing the chapter you wish to open. So I've put my mouse to the side and I'm going to begin typing now GEN for generalities. And you'll notice that as soon as I began typing, the generals chapter was highlighted. The rest of the chapters have disappeared. And you'll notice as well that the bottom of this navigation window has a go-to button that is blinking. Now, all I need to do, again, I'm not using my mouse, is to go to the Enter or Return key on the right-hand side of my keyboard, and when I press that key, what's going to happen is I'm going to go another level deeper, if you will, into the navigation window. So I will go into the Generalities chapter, and I now have a list of all of the rubrics in that chapter here in alphabetical order. Now still, without the use of the mouse, we can navigate our way deeper into this chapter in the repertory just by typing the first few letters of the rubric that we're looking for, in this case, complaints. I'll begin typing then, C-O-M. You'll notice that as I'm typing, my list of rubrics is narrowing down. You'll notice as well that there's a little hand pointer that appears on the left-hand side of that navigation window. Once we've begun typing, you'll notice we're always going to get the hand, and that lets us know that we have the ability to go another level deeper into our navigation. Watch what I mean. I've typed C-O-M. The little hand is pointing to the rubric combing hair. Actually, the one we want, though, is complaints. So I'll need to continue typing. C-O-M-P-L. Notice that now that little hand is pointing to the rubric complaints. So we're in the generalities chapter. We're now about to navigate to the rubric complaints. Again, the little hand is pointing to complaints. The go-to button is blinking. And all we need to do is press our Enter or Return key, and we'll go another level deeper into our navigation. We're now located at Generals Complaints. Let's go one step deeper via the navigation window to the subrubric Generals Complaints Appearing. From there we can dump directly into the repertory to find the exact rubric we need. So from here, I'll begin typing for my subrubric, A, P, P, and there we are, poised to go the next level in our navigation window to General's Complaints Appearing. Without using my mouse, I'll just press the Enter or Return key on my keyboard. And with one more Enter or Return key, we will go directly to that spot in the repertory. And voila! Here we are in the Generalities chapter, the rubric Complaints, and the sub-rubric Appearing, with additional sub-rubrics available. And what I'm going to do from here is just glance through these sub-rubrics until I come to what I believe is an appropriate sub-rubric for our case. You'll see here the hand pointing to General's Complaints, Appearing Suddenly, and Disappearing Suddenly. So I can mouse over that rubric, press and hold my left mouse button as I drag that rubric to an empty clipboard. When the little green plus sign appears, I let go, and we've now added the final rubric to our case analysis. Now, while you pause and review here, you may want to practice this technique with rubrics that you're familiar with. Let's say, for example, mind, forsaken feeling, head, pain, pressing pain. Those are just a couple of examples, the kinds of rubrics that we often have memorized, and when you've mastered this keyboard-only technique, you'll be able to go quite quickly to the desired rubric. Okay, let's get back to our case analysis. Now, if you recall from the previous video, we have this Hide Table of Contents button here in the lower left-hand corner. And I'm going to go ahead and click that now so that our analysis window is going to allow us to see some or most of the rubrics here that we've chosen. Now, you'll probably also recall that if we want to see the symptoms on all of our clipboards, we need to select the analysis graph from the analysis icon here in the top toolbar. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a single mouse click there. And we are now looking at all 4 of our clipboards, which should be giving us our complete case analysis. Okay, so let's get into this now in a little more depth and explore just exactly what these numbers here at the top of our analysis graph actually mean. Let's start by defining some terminology here for our analysis window. Across the top of the window, we have our analysis results. On the left, we have our rubrics clipboard display, and then at the bottom in the center of the screen, we have our analysis strategy selector. Quick sidebar here. I'm often asked for help in reading and understanding the analysis results because we all would like to know what's the right remedy. Remember that your analysis results are available to you as a tool. They'll point you in the direction of appropriate remedies or remedies that may be appropriate for your case, but of course they're just a tool. You'll want to do further exploration in the materia medica before coming to any conclusions in any particular case. The important thing to remember always is that your analysis results will change based on the rubrics that you use, as well as the analysis strategy setting that you use. Let's take a look at some examples here. Here on the screen now, we've got our analysis set for sum of symptoms, sorted degrees, and you'll notice the remedy order here with belladonna, stramonium, hyoscyamus, and so on. In this next screenshot, where I have changed the analysis strategy to small remedies, you'll notice that the order of the remedies is very different. I always recommend sum of symptoms sorted degrees as the basic foundation for understanding analysis strategies. That's the one I recommend you master first, and it is the one that we're going to have a look at in the next few slides. So let's get started. Here we have the first row in our analysis results. This is the row I refer to as the order. It simply gives us a way that we can refer to each one of the remedies in our analysis. Now the second row of numbers in our sum of symptoms strategy is exactly that. It is the sum of symptoms for each one of our remedies. You'll see that belladonna in the sum of symptoms position has a number 6. And that's because belladonna appears in all 6 of our analysis symptoms. Stramonium has a number 5 for its sum of symptoms, and that of course is because stramonium appears in 5 of the symptoms. In fact, 12 of our top 13 remedies all have a sum of symptoms setting equal to 5. The third row represents the degrees or the intensity of each remedy in each rubric. Let's take a look at an example here. Here we see the rubric for mind biting, and you'll notice that the remedies are color-coded in this rubric in the repertory according to their intensity. Belladonna in this rubric is a grade 3. It's in the red, bold, all caps. And in our analysis results for belladonna, you'll notice that belladonna has a grade 3 for that first rubric, which is mind biting. You'll notice as well that stramonium also appears as a grade 3 in this rubric, and stramonium also has a grade 3 for its intensity in that particular symptom. Now, where we get the sorted by degrees is essentially to sum up the intensity of each remedy within each rubric. We see that belladonna has a sum of degrees or intensity of 16, and stramonium 13. Go ahead and pause the video now and try looking at these analysis settings on your computer. You may also want to change your setting from sum of symptoms to sum of degrees and compare what the numbers or the resulting analysis looks like. All right, we're ready to wrap up our case here. We have pulled our rubrics together on 4 clipboards. We've looked at the results of our analysis using the sum of symptoms sorted degrees method. And now what I'd like to do is walk you through a quick way to access some materia medica on the remedies of interest here and hopefully make a decision on the remedy that we'd like to give in this particular case. Okay? Now if you recall, the remedy abbreviations most anywhere in your program are going to be hyperlinks. What that means is if I mouse over one of these remedy abbreviations and I double click with my mouse, it's going to open up the remedy information window. So here we have our remedy information window for the remedy belladonna, and belladonna indeed has a set of keynotes here. You recall that these keynotes are part of the Radar Opus program done by the Radar team. And we can very quickly glance through these keynotes to get an idea of whether or not belladonna might be an appropriate remedy in this case. Now let's just suppose, for the sake of discussion here, that we'd like to do a bit more research looking at belladonna beyond just what's listed here in the Radar keynotes. The way we can do that is through a quick remedy search that's accessed from right here in the remedy information window. The upper left-hand corner of the remedy information window provides us with a button. When I mouse over that button, you'll see that it goes to gray and the words read "Search for this remedy in," with an option to select a drop-down and choose from a list. In other words, where would I like to search for belladonna? Normally what I will do is I will simply mouse down and select the second item on the list, which is All Documents. And when I click All Documents, the program is going to perform a quick search for the remedy belladonna in all documents. That means all of my repertories and all of my reference materia medica, all in one go. You'll notice then that we now have a results of search window open, and here on the left the content zone is displaying the results of our search for the remedy belladonna in all of our documents. Well, all right, this search for the remedy belladonna in all documents has produced a huge volume of information, and we certainly don't want to have to scroll through all of it. Now, what we can do to quickly access a materia medica or a book that we may want to use for our research is to go to the top of this content zone or results of search, and we notice there's a field here that says Limit to Document. Now, when I click my cursor in that slot, I can type the name of an author, and I'm going to use Boricki as my example here. So as I begin typing, you will notice that my list of search results is going to narrow as I type. B-O-E. All right. And even just by typing those first three letters, I've significantly shortened my list of results here so that I can get to the book I'm interested in. In this case, under the materia medica listing, I notice I have Boricki's Pocket Manual. And remembering, all we have to do is mouse over the title of any of the books in our content zone here. And when we click on that title, that volume is going to open and display here in the reading area of our program. So here I've got the Boricki's Materia Medica for belladonna, and I can have a look through there to give myself just a little bit more information to evaluate whether or not this is a remedy that might be appropriate for this case. Okay, I'm going to run through one more quick example of the materia medica research, and then we will pause and you can go ahead and give that a try. So let's return to our analysis window. I'm going to use my analysis button here in the top icon bar. And this time, I think the remedy that I would like to research is stramonium. All right, so I'm just going to point to the remedy abbreviation, double click to open the remedy information window for stramonium. And here I have my stramonium keynotes, but I would like to do a more in-depth search and look at stramonium in all of my volumes. So I'll go to the upper left-hand corner of my remedy information window for stramonium, and where the prompt says search for this remedy, I will select the second item on the list, all documents, and when I make my mouse click, the program completes the search for me. Now, once again, when I go to look at my content zone here with the results of search, I've got a very big list of results for stramonium. Once again, I'd like to research stramonium in Boricki's Materia Medica. So I will go to the top of this content zone so that I can limit to document. And again, we use the author's name here for our limit purposes. I'm going to type B-O-E. And very quickly, I have now shortened my list of search results, and I'm able to mouse over the title of the book I'm interested in here, Boricki's Pocket Manual. When I click Boricki's Pocket Manual, I now have in my reading area Boricki's Pocket Manual of Homeopathic Materia Medica open to stramonium. All right, to conclude the matter here with our case analysis and come to a remedy recommendation for this individual, I just thought I'd make a couple of comments while we're looking at the analysis graph. Now, the remedy that was given in this case is belladonna, which is fairly straightforward and an obvious prescription in this case. The way this analysis is laid out, everything hinges pretty much on this symptom, general's complaints appearing suddenly and disappearing suddenly. It's a small rubric. It only contains 9 remedies. But within the context of this particular case, it helps us differentiate amongst so many of the other remedies here that cover the majority of the symptoms in the case. So it all really, in this instance, does boil down to this clipboard number 4 and this rubric general's complaints appearing suddenly and disappearing suddenly. Now, would you consider spigelia in this case? Probably not. Why? Spigelia is missing from this all-important rubric here, mind biting. Okay, so we're going to eliminate that one as a possibility. But what about sulfur? Sulfur is something that we definitely will want to include in our differential. Because why? Well, sulfur has this characteristic of the complaints appearing and disappearing suddenly, and it also covers the rest of our symptoms pretty well, especially when we make note of the fact that here on clipboard 3 we have eye brilliant. Now, sulfur does not appear in that rubric, but it does appear in the next rubric, which is eye glassy appearance. In fact, I think we could accept any remedy that falls into either one of those 2 rubrics. Okay, so the remedy given, again, in this case was belladonna. Alrighty then. The last thing we need to cover here in this series of videos is how to save our analysis and recall an analysis that we've previously saved. I'm going to show you the really quick and simple way that I use for saving my cases. We're going to go to the analysis icon in the icon toolbar, and we're going to use the little arrow just to the right of the icon in order to bring up this analysis menu. Scrolling down the analysis menu, we'll notice there's an item here that says Save Current Analysis. When I click that button, my Save Current Analysis window opens, and there's a spot here where I can specify a name for my analysis. Now, normally what I do in my practice is I will put the patient's first and last name. Let's call this person beer drinker, and I will also include the date of the analysis. So let's say this was a Cinco de Mayo fellow, and we'll put in 5/5 of 2017. And in this next field just below notes about the analysis, I will usually make a note of the remedy given. Down here in the lower right hand corner of this Save Analysis window, we have a Save button. And when I click that button, it's going to save all of my rubrics to my analysis by that name for future reference. Okay, now let's go ahead and clear the decks, and then we'll see how we can recall that case for later use. So to clear our clipboards, we will go back up to this analysis icon and click to reveal the analysis menu. The next to the last item here on the list says Start a New Analysis, Clear All Clipboards. Well, since we've saved our case, that's a safe move. I will go ahead and click there, and voila! My case is cleaned up. I no longer have any rubrics on my clipboards. I could start a new case, or let's go ahead and practice recalling that previous case. I'll go back to my analysis icon. I'll bring up that analysis menu, and this time I'm going to choose the item Recall an Existing Analysis from the menu. I get a new window here which lists all of the cases that I have saved, and in this instance we're going to highlight beer drinker. Once we've highlighted the name of the case we'd like to recall, it's as easy as going to the Recall button in the lower right hand corner of the window. Click Recall, and voila! There's our case. Well, that wraps up this series of introductory videos. I've enjoyed making these for you, and I hope that you found this information to be helpful. Please do keep in touch and take good care. Thanks.